And it's just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Syed Rehman, DMD, graduate with Bachelors in Dental Surgery in India and decided for a better life and moved to the United States. He and his wife, Ameena, moved to Chicago and fell in love with it. After several struggles, he got accepted in NYU Royal College of Surgeons' one-year oral surgery certificate program for international dentists. Completing that, he joined University of Illinois at Chicago, where he earned his DMD in the International Degree Program in 2015. After his graduation, he associated for 4 different practices, figuring out different practice philosophies with his mentors, learning everything from building a practice to running a multi-million-dollar practice. He did his first practice in April 2016 in Chicago with 6 chairs and now is running 11 very successful practices with over 30 associates and 5 specialists. His goal is to make dentistry predictable, affordable, accessible, and comfortable. My gosh, I'm so excited to have you come on the show. I mean, I look at dentists and they come out of school, and well, basically it's a millennial thing. They basically only work somewhere a year, whether it's Facebook, Amazon, Heartland. I mean, most of the millennial research is, I mean, they go follow any of them on LinkedIn. They have a different job every year until about 5 years out of dental school, and then they settle down, and then they practice for 30 years. So when they come out of school, talk to me. I mean, you started a dental office, and now you have 11 locations. I'm trying to get Karen just to open up one. So I really want to know from the guy who opened up 11 practices across Milwaukee and Chicago, what do you say to Karen, who's 27, she gets a different associate job every year, she hates them all, and all she's ever wanted is to own her own office, and then here you're sitting there with 11 of them. So talk to her.
Well, I am a product of you. You know, I have listened to you since my first day in dental school. I've pretty much heard every podcast that you guys said, and I just followed what you guys said. And you know, it's all about meeting different people, having different mentors, taking those calculated risks, and just going for it. I mean, you know, you need to go out there. There's so many awesome dentists out there. Meet them, talk to them, learn from them, and you know, it's an amazing profession.
The natural selection is shy introvert, because you got to get A's in calculus, physics, chemistry, biology. So that's the kid who sat in the library. That wasn't the guy in the frat house and all that stuff. So meeting people and getting out there and pressing the flesh and running for mayor and meeting all the dentists. I mean, my God, they'd rather go. How do you get a shy introvert mathematician scientist to actually walk across the street and shake hands with the dentist?
Well, you know, they have to have that in them, and it's unfortunate that they don't teach any of this in dental school. But you know, you need to go out there. You need to go to all these different meetings, your district meetings or your city meetings, and start socializing, talking to all the different dentists that are out there. And just learn from them. Learn as much as you can. Gather up as much as knowledge as you can, and you know, I mean, just do it. Just take some calculated risks and just go for it. That's what I did. And you know, you have resources like you guys and Mark Costas and Gary Takis, who have all these free podcasts out there. So there's just so much information that they can learn from, and you know, it's all free, and build with it. So that's what I did.
Man, Arizona really is the hotbed for podcasts. I mean, you just said Costas, Takis, Farran. That's I wonder if our state has more podcasts than any other state. So if someone wants to follow you, you have 11 different dental offices. Do you
Yes.
do you have a website for you or what you do? Or
I don't right now. I actually just hired 2 people to work with me on the personal branding. So we're going to try out something new with marketing with all my offices, where we're going to personal brand all my doctors. So, you know, so she's working on creating personal bios and some personal video clips for all these doctors. So I'm working on something like that right now. So hopefully I'll have it out in a few weeks.
And you have 11 practices across Milwaukee and Chicago.
Yes.
So is that a do they all have a certain look and feel and business model? I mean, do they all do everything the same?
Yes, no, Howard, when I was in school, I was really passionate about the whole access to care issue that we're having. And I was working with all these different doctors and mentors, and everybody wanted to work 9 to 5, and or everybody wanted to work 9 to 4, and they only wanted to do what they like and what they did not like. So I learned it from all of them, and then when I started my practices, I said, okay, these practices are going to be open from 9 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the evening. We're going to be open 7 days a week. So none of my practices closed. We are open Monday through Sunday. The only 3 days we close is 4th of July, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And and I had some surgical background, so I wanted to get associates and mentor them. So the day associates join me, they learn everything from surgical extractions to orthodontics to everything that is possible. So I invest a lot in my associates. I send them to courses in the Dominican to learn implants. I've made them join the USGI course where they learn ortho, and then I have 5 orthodontists who work for me all across the board. And the deal with them is, hey, listen, you can work in my practices if you're going to teach my general dentist how to do simple cases of ortho. And then when we did these practices, the look and feel of all these practices is different because they're all in different kinds of neighborhoods, and they see different patient demographics and different profiles. So I didn't want to create something which is one size fits all. So what we did is we created different things, different profiles.
So you have 11 practices.
Yes.
Do you own 100% 11 practices, or?
So I own about 4 of them. I own them 100%. Okay, and then the rest of them I have a partner.
Okay, so
I have 2-3 partners. So in different practices.
So that's the big debate by you have guys like Rick Kirshner.
Okay.
Rick Kirshner owns 350 Comfort Dentals, and he doesn't want any associates. He wants everybody to have skin in the game. Then you got Rick Workman, who does it all with employees. So what have you learned? You have 4 offices where you own 100% out of 11. Yes. So that means you have 9 offices where you have a partner where someone else is a dentist in there with skin in the game.
Everybody who's a partner of mine is my friend. So it's basically the associate who's either working there or the owner that I took the practice from, and then we've structured out something where I'm going to go help him. I'm going to bring in my systems and the way I do things, and then transition him into retirement.
So again, in 4 offices you own 100%, and in 9 offices you have a partner.
Yes.
Are there lessons learned in that? I mean, what's the difference between owning a dental office 100% where all the dentists in there are employees,
yes,
versus the having skin in the game? Because I know, and I believe a lot of people believe that if you own your office and you got a mortgage, well, you're going to try to do that molar root canal. If you don't, you're an employee, I'll send it to an endodontist. There's a whole different mindset when you're an owner operator. Have you noticed any of that or not really?
Well, that was my biggest forte when I take on associates. It's all about comprehensive treatment planning, I sit with them every day and I teach them how to do those molar root canals, and so far I've been lucky enough. Yes, there are some times where there is conflicts in practice philosophies, but I've chosen my partners very wisely. So before I took over their offices, it was really made very clear to them that, listen, I'll be running the show. So that's the only way I'll be a part of it. So far it has worked out. So I haven't run into any major conflicts.
That is great. So Is dental implants a big part of your formula?
Uh, Dental implants is a part of it, but it's comprehensive dentistry. It's partials and dentures and root canals and crowns and bridges. Yes, dental implants do add to the menu, but they are not end be all. I mean, our practices, we do everything from prophy to sealant to an all-on-4 implant to full comprehensive orthodontics, but a major portion of our practices are still bread and butter dentistry, and that's what we focus on.
And when you say bread and butter dentistry, fillings, basic endo, crown.
Yes, fillings, basic endo, root canals, and crowns, bridges, dentures, and then we upgrade to over dentures, or talk about an all-on-4. So anything and everything.
Do you consider orthodontics and clear aligners basic dentistry, or is not really?
We do consider simple orthodontics. So almost all my associates can do a class 1 malocclusion case using straight wire technique. We don't do that many clear aligners. Okay, there are only few practices where the patient profile can afford the clear aligners. So that's where we use Invisalign and Clear Correct. But otherwise, we do full comprehensive, braces.
What do you think of general dentists learning comprehensive orthodontics?
I think it is really important for general dentists to learn orthodontics and practice orthodontics at a basic level, because what it does is it gives them this arsenal where they can diagnose better and treat the patient better, So I have learned that, my relationship with my specialist has improved after I or any of my associates have started doing simple orthodontics, and the new generation orthodontics that are coming out now realize that, and it has to be coexistence with them, and it's working out for us. It just helps us diagnose better.
A lot of kids, they're getting mixed signals. They get out of school and they see something like the Scottsdale Center and Frank Spear, and it's basically all wrapped up in a CEREC machine. So they think, well, if I want to be a great dentist like that, I need a CEREC machine. And then there's old guys. Then there's old guys like me that's like, man, I'd rather have a 30-year relationship with Don Van Hook up the street with Van Hook Labs than a machine. Is your 11 locations, 11 practices across Milwaukee and Chicago, do they all have chairside CAD/CAM milling machines?
No, we absolutely don't have any CAD/CAM. We still use PBS impressions, and I don't think anybody needs to buy, again, I'm going to get a lot of heat for this probably, but you don't need a CAD/CAM machine to run a successful practice. I mean, a successful practice is a practice where the dentist is doing good diagnosis, talking to the patients, just doing comprehensive dentistry. There is needed dentistry and there is wanted dentistry. Do all the needed dentistry, educate the patient on wanted dentistry, and give them create a nice treatment plan, give them a nice treatment plan, and they will fall through. I mean, they'll come through. So, but no, I haven't upgraded to any CAD/CAMs. I don't believe in them yet. Maybe later. We do have 2 machines. I have in 2 offices, but that's for orthodontic purposes. We use that for clear aligners, but not for CAD/CAM. So no.
So
no.
What technology do you feel is vital for comprehensive dentistry?
CT scan, maybe, so it's going to help you diagnose, do a root canal better, place an implant better, extract better. I think, I am looking for a good course in complete dentures or partials. I mean, if I can find someone who can really, again, teach me how to do a really nice complete denture, or nice, a metal-based partial or a flexi partial, I would close my eyes, go myself, send all my associates for it.
Yeah, the biggest partial lab in America is right down the street from me in Nogales, Arizona. They're all shipped to Nogales, USA, and then they're driven in a car across the street to Nogales, Mexico, and they get about 1,000 partials a day. And it was amazing to see how 90% 98% of the 1,000 incoming partials a day, the lab script is just lower partial. Didn't cut a receipt, didn't say anything about designing it. And I'm like, dude, all you had to do is pick up a football burr and you could have done something better than this. 9 out of 10, just lower impression, lower partial.
How there are so many people out there who will be very happy with a partial or a complete denture. I mean, everybody wants to jump into this exotic stuff. Yes, the exotic stuff comes in later, but do like 100 dentures and then jump into implants and do a lot of partials. If you can do a good partial or a good complete denture, then you can place an implant better. You can treatment plan better. So I really focus on this with my associates. I mean, it's all about just how can we do this class 2 filling better, or how can we just do a simple root canal and make it, as you used to say it, make it fast, make it cheap, make it affordable, make it convenient. So with us, that's what it's all about.
So you're mostly in Chicago and Milwaukee.
Yes.
How did you get Chicago and Milwaukee? How did those two things go together?
I started off in Chicago, and then a friend of mine talked to me about an opportunity in Milwaukee, and it's funny, when you live in the suburbs of Chicago, Milwaukee is just a heartbeat away from you. It actually takes you more time to commute to downtown Chicago from the suburbs of Chicago than it takes to commute to Milwaukee. So when I started putting this all together, and I said, okay, well, you have this land of opportunity which is just sitting right next to this major city, and everybody wants to be in the city of Chicago. So I took that opportunity, and found some really good locations, and it worked out. So
what do you dude, when a kid gets out of school and they got $285,000 student loans, and let's say they want to buy a practice, that's $750,000, so they're looking at, my God, I'm going to be $1 million in debt. I really want this to work. Do demographics matter? I mean, you've opened up 11 offices. Do demographics matter?
I do a lot of research on demographics. But my thing has been, I've been going after these legacy practices. You have these practices sitting in these inner cities, which are 50 years old and 60 years old, and all these awesome dentists who work there for 40 years, 50 years, they're about to retire, they're sitting on 20,000 patients or 30,000 patients. I mean, everybody wants to put out this really nice, shiny 5-star building out there, but I'm going after these legacy practices where I don't have to spend $500,000 or $1 million. I go in there, I create a really nice retirement plan for the dentist, get in some good technology, some good upgrades. You already have the patient base. It's easy.
Yeah, and it just makes so much sense. So are you not really finding a big difference between the business of dentistry success in Chicago versus Milwaukee? If you picked up a great legacy location, it doesn't matter?
No. It all depends on the dentist. I think, Howard, again, if the dentist is good, can create a good treatment plan, be nice to the patient and be accessible to the patient, and the treatment plan is presented nicely, I really don't think it makes a difference.
So you have 30 associate dentists and 5 specialists. What kind of specialists are those 5 specialists? Are they all? They're all what?
Yes, orthodontists. They're all orthodontists.
They're all orthodontists. Wow. And talk about that. So are these full-time orthodontists?
Yes. They rotate. I mean, they don't work full-time in one office. They go to different offices. So they rotate between different offices. So.
And do they all get paid the same way?
They all get paid. Chicago is a little bit cheaper. Milwaukee is a little bit more expensive. So, I am really all about taking care of my dentists. Again, I'm going to get heat for this, but when my dentists come to Milwaukee, I pay for their car, I pay for their hotel. I really take care of my associates. So that's one of the reasons I think I'm a little bit successful as well. I'm paying them more than whatever the market pays. I'm investing
I know.
almost a lot of money. I don't want to throw numbers out, but I'm spending $10,000 to $20,000 per associate just on their CEs every year. But when I do that, I'm seeing that, when they have that knowledge, they are going and just killing it every
I
day.
know. I never understood this infatuation with 20% labor and these. It seems like
No,
all the people who have their labor at 20%, they don't pay health insurance. And then you say, oh, so do you believe in like the government should pay for it, like Medicare for all? Oh no. Oh, so
no.
you're a doctor and you just don't believe that anybody should have health insurance. And then you see the high employee turnover. I mean, when you take care of your employees and they stay with you 20, 30, 40 years, that's kind of priceless.
Howard, I have about 33 or 34. I lose count of how many associates I have. I have only 2 associates that have quit on me. Okay, that too because they wanted to move out to a different state. I have almost 200 to 250 support staff that work in all the clinics. I can literally count on fingers of people who've actually quit on me. No one. And I'm affording to give them health insurance, and I'm also going to start giving them she was saying disability insurance and life insurance and all that stuff. We're making it happen with the work we're doing.
So everybody reports high associate turnover. I just lectured to 100 people in Scottsdale at a big DSO convention. The number one issue with DSOs is associate turnover. Why do you think? And it's in private. So why are you not having this problem and they are?
Because I am with my associate from day one. I'm teaching them how to surgically section a tooth. Okay, I'm teaching them how to do a root canal in a very efficient way. I'm teaching them how to do orthodontics. I'm teaching them how to do implants. I'm teaching them everything, and there's always someone behind them protecting them, guiding them, and holding their hand. They just love it. And when I do this, and obviously, teaching them treatment planning. My associates are making north of 25, 30, and when you are making that kind of money, why would you skip and try to reinvent the wheel and open up a new business? The way I tell my associates is, listen, I'm going to give you 3 chairs in my practice. I'm going to give you 2 assistants, 1 treatment plan coordinator, 1 hygienist. Run it as you would run your practice. So this will be your practice within my practice. So, I've created such awesome setups for them that they just don't need the need to quit.
So now, will that young associate, will they ever have a chance to buy in and be a partner, or will they be employed?
Yes, that's how I'm expanding, and that's what my next thing is. Listen, if you think you're good, you want to take it to the next step, let's go out, let's explore out some more areas, let's look for these legacy practices, and you and me, let's do it together.
So you're saying that you think what the young dentist is looking for the most is a mentor?
Yes, 100%. Not 1, 3 or 4 mentors. Because Howard, when they come out of school, they don't know who they are. They don't know what they like. They don't know what they enjoy. So they need to worry about how much minimum they're going to make or what their contract looks like or all that crap. And they need to just focus on learning dentistry from the best or who they think is the best. And learn how to take out a tooth, learn how to do a root canal at 6 o'clock in the evening, learn how to make a complete denture, which doesn't need, whatever the glue thing is, They need to focus their first year or second year or at least 2 years on that. And then after that, this profession is an awesome profession.
Huh. That is, that is, so you think, they're looking for several mentors, that they come out there not quite sure who they are. They're looking for mentors. They need mentors on what? Legal, root canals, implants,
everything.
Yeah. And
even
that's why when you're posting on social media that you're you're going back to Parsons, Kansas, and there's 2 different people and you got 2 job offers and one's paying 25%, but he'll pay your lab bill, and the other one's paying 30%. but you got to pay half your lab bill, and you're asking which one's better. I mean, that's a cry for help that you have no idea what you're looking for. That's what you just said. You have no idea. What are you looking for? Where do you want to be 5, 10, 20 years?
Exactly. Yes. So, listen, worry about how can I do this, and how can I learn to do this? Who's going to teach me how to look up, what production versus collection is, or who's going to teach me how to do this root canal as quickly as efficiently as possible, or who can teach me how to do a bone graft, or how to surgically remove this teeth? I mean, who can teach me how to be confident and how to talk to my patient and how to convince them that this is what they need. So I understand the contracts and all this legal stuff is important, but I think for the first year or two, either they should join a good GPR program or an AGD program, or come to the inner city. Don't be afraid to go to these practices where they see volume patients. But, see if there's a good mentor in that practice who will teach you how to do things, who will teach you how to do things fast, and just focus on developing speed and your treatment planning skills.
That is, so a lot of people are going to ask, well, if you got 11 offices, that's a beast to feed with new patients. How do you feed 11 offices of new patients?
So we have, I'm really big into good systems, Howard. So we use Dentrix all across the board. I'm a big fan. I'm upgrading to Ascend in a few days, but we have partnered up with Dental Intel, which really gives us a good breakdown of, where the patients are. And then what I've done is, as I said, I have 2 people who are constantly working on digital marketing. I really don't follow a lot of these big companies who are into SEOs. I personally don't think any of that works. I'm all into Google reviews and creating original content and posting on Facebook and posting on Instagram and promoting all that stuff. So I have 2 wonderful staff or team members who are constantly doing that, constantly updating that, and the biggest thing is word of mouth, Howard. Word of mouth. I mean, if you extract a person's tooth when they're in pain, they're gonna go tell 10 people, and if you did a root canal at 7 o'clock in the evening, they're gonna go tell the whole world about it, and that's our biggest referral source. Just good work and being there for the patients.
So, you said that how did you word it? The young kids when they got out of school, they need several mentors. They still don't really know who they are.
Yeah,
you said they didn't know really who they are. The old U2 song, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. What do you think they're looking for when they come out of school?
Just figure out what your niche is. What you're going to be happy doing. Figure that out, work with different people, and once you figure that out, make some plans. Okay, where do you see yourself 1 year or 5 years or 10 years or 2 years, 3 years? Everybody's all confused. They're just running behind, what the minimum amount that I'm gonna get, or what the contract says, and this and that. But instead of that, let's take some time and focus on, what am I going to learn? How much am I going to learn? And how will I develop myself 6 months if I associate myself with this practice or this doctor? So a lot of emphasis should be made on that.
Do you, when you're looking at yourself, do you have an exit strategy? Do you see 10 years, you'll be up to 50 offices and partners and unload the whole thing to Heartland, or what is your exit strategy?
I don't have any, a lot of people asked me that and they said, okay, do you have like a private equity that is investing in you? So no, I've never been approached by, I had a private equity that approached me, but I didn't want to talk to them. I'm just doing this because I love it. And I don't have an exit strategy. I'm 40 years old, I'm going to be 40 and I want to do this till I'm at least 60, 65. I want to grow this as much as I can. And, when it burns me out, I'm just going to stop. That's it. So I'm not doing this, wow, for for a lot of other reasons why people are doing this, to build 20 locations and then just sell out and then buy a house in California and relax. No, I'm going to be in this game for a long time. Again, as I said, to me, this is all about access to care and making dentistry as you used to say it, or you still say it, making it affordable, making it accessible, and for everyone, cheap, whatever, so just everyone should have access to good dentistry at any time.
I'm gonna ask this question, and I'm already regret asking it because I know my homies can't talk about it. They're so. Why is healthcare so emotional in this country, and it's just not in almost every country I've been to? I mean, like I'm lecturing next week in Israel. I mean, Canada, Israel, Australia. I mean, healthcare is just not. It's just not. It's available. It's affordable. They got a government plan. You can do your own plan. No one even cares or really talks about it. Then you come to this country, and it's like you gotta put your stake in the ground and tell me what side of the line you are and ready to. I mean, what way is that? I mean, you lived in England, right?
Yes.
How many countries have you lived in?
I've lived in India. And in the United States. No, I've not lived in England, so no, I have not.
Okay. But why is healthcare just such an emotional issue?
I have no idea, Howard. I mean, it is so simple, yet it is so complicated. I mean, you have all these groups of dentists who are talking about, oh, we can't take insurance and this and that, or I become a bad person if I start accepting insurance. But I am in this for the people, Howard. I'm in this for the patients, So, not everybody can afford a $25,000 all-on-4 case. There are a lot of people who need fillings done. They can't afford to pay. And I'm just out there to help them. And I believe in karma. You go do good stuff will happen to you, and that's what I'm doing. I'm just going out, trying to help out all these associates who join me. I'm trying to help out all these employees who work with me. I'm trying to help out all these patients who show up at my practice. It doesn't matter if they have Delta Dental or MetLife or for the matter state insurance. I'm just going to treat them right. And I'm going to treat them as if I would treat my wife or my kid or my father or my brother or my friend. And that's how I'm going to do it. I'm not going to listen to the groups who say, don't do this, don't do that. I'm just going to do it my way. And if it works out good. If it doesn't work out, I'll come crashing and burning down. So far, it's working out. I mean, in 3 years, we built this thing. Everybody loves working for us. Everybody enjoys working for us. We have absolutely no turnover rate. It's working out. All my dentists are happy. They're paying off their student loans really, really quick. I mean, I don't know. So it's.
So how did you get involved? How did it become part of your? How did access to healthcare? What does access to healthcare mean to you, and why is that part of your?
Because Howard, everybody talks about access to healthcare in the boonies, So there are no dentists, 100 miles from the city or 200. I understand that. But even in the city, I think there is a big issue. Dentists don't want to open up after 5 o'clock, or they don't want to do a root canal after 5 o'clock. I mean, even in the city of Chicago, try finding an oral surgeon who will pull your tooth out at 7 o'clock or an endodontist. You can't. And I think that is still a big access to care issue. So it all started with my wife, when I was a dentist when I moved here and her tooth was hurting. I wasn't licensed and we didn't have insurance. I mean, we had the state plan or whatever, we're working hard at that time. And I couldn't find any dentist, or I couldn't even find someone who could write a proper prescription. We had to go to the emergency room just to get a prescription. And I saw her suffer through that. And I took it at that point that, listen, I'm going to change this. I mean, nobody deserves to be in pain at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the night when it doesn't matter how much money they have or what kind of insurance we have. I mean, a patient is a patient. You have to take care of the patient. Stop thinking about the patient's pocket. Just think about the patient's disease, create a treatment plan, treat the patient, do whatever you can do, and then just leave the rest. Everything falls into place.
Yeah, it is amazing. Phoenix, Arizona is so it's 4 million metro. And
Yes.
on Sunday, if you had a toothache, I tell people you have a better chance robbing 4 banks in a row without getting caught than finding a
Yes.
dental office that'll see you.
Or tell them to take a flight and come to Chicago or Milwaukee. We'll do it for them. So
Yeah, 8.5% of emergency room visits in the United States of America are odontogenic in origin because the dentists, not only are they not open, they don't answer their cell phone, they don't have an answering service. And then if you say they're not a real doctor, they'll go insane. But you know, a real doctor, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
And then they say, oh, I know we have banker's hours. I'm like, dude, no, the bank is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week too. I don't even know where you get banker's hours from. It's only dentists who work Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. Who else does that?
No, what is the difference between us and physicians? I mean, we're physicians of the mouth. So, so why should we be treated differently? And I mean, we're held to the same standards as a regular doctor.
And my physician friends, when they get off work on the way home, they'll stop by 1 or 2 hospitals to make rounds.
Yes. And what I'm doing now is I'm opening my practices from 8 in the morning to 8 in the night. And I'm taking these dentists and I'm giving them, listen, you work the 8 to 2 shift or 2 to 8 shift, and they love it. It's a 6-hour shift, they see their patients, they're not burnt out. And sometimes they say, okay, Dr. Syed, I'll just work, the whole 12-hour shift, and they work 3 days and take 4 days out. It works. It works wonders. It works great.
Okay, so let's go through that because you talked about that at the very beginning of the seminar. So let's go through your business model. Okay, so what are the hours in?
So clinics are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We do 2 shifts from 8 to 2 and 2 to 8. So mostly all the clinics, we see about 60 to 70 patients per clinic. In the clinics that I own, the other clinics are a little bit smaller. Our business model is again, one dentist, 2 assistants, 1 hygienist is the ratio, and then 1 treatment.
What is the ratio?
1 dentist, 2 assistants.
1 dentist, 2 assistants. What about hygienists?
One hygienist.
So your ratio is 1 dentist.
Yes.
Okay. Where would mine go? So it's
because my dentists like to do their SRPs, so we use the hygienists only for very limited things.
So your ratio is 1 dentist, 1 hygienist, 2 assistants.
Yes.
And then the dentists, their shifts are 6 hours, 8 to 2, yes, or 2 to 8, and that's Monday through
every day.
The 7 days a week.
Yeah. Or I mean, they work 5 days, so I have enough dentists who keep rotating. So Saturdays and Sundays we're open from 9 to 3.
So Saturdays and Sundays 9 to 3.
9 to 3, yes, that's one shift.
So and why did you go 9 to 3 on Saturdays and Sundays?
It was difficult to keep them after 3. They didn't want to stay after 3. So
it was because of the labor. It was because of the employees.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're 8 to 8 Monday through Friday.
Yes.
And 9 to 3 Saturday and Sunday.
Sundays, yes.
Your ratio is a dentist, 1 dentist, 1 hygienist, 2 assistants.
Yes.
So do your dentists do cleanings then?
SRPs, yes. And
what did you say?
Cleanings of the patient. SRPs, deep cleanings.
Oh, SRPs. Scaling.
Yes,
okay,
SRPs.
You're saying SRP. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So dentists do their own scaling and root planing.
Yes.
But not their own prophies.
Sometimes they will, give the scaling and root planing to the hygienist, but we are moving away from the hygienist model. So we're trying.
So let's talk about that because there's only 3 publicly traded dental offices on Earth,
yes,
and 3 for 3, 2 in Australia, 1 in Singapore. They all got rid of the hygienist.
Yes, and I'm moving away from that as well.
Okay, talk about that.
Because the dentist like to treat their patients, the way I train them is listen, this is your patient, this patient is your responsibility, and the patient appreciates it more if the dentist puts in that effort and puts in that care. So I know it's going to involve spending 20, 25 minutes for a prophy, but we've seen that builds a much better relationship with the patient.
Yeah.
The patient cares more that the dentist is putting in all the effort, be it $800 or $900 crown versus $75 cleaning or $100 cleaning to an SRP or whatever. And so we are moving away from the whole hygienist model.
Do you see that as a trend also in Chicago? I mean, do you see other people trending away from hygienists?
Yes, I'm seeing that a lot.
Yeah, and I just want to tell you, again, the only three play, and I podcasted the owner of 1300 Dentistry, 1300 in Australia. But anyway, long story short, he said, well, first of all, he goes, how do you have a hygienist? You're paying her $40 an hour to do a $50 cleaning. You know, I mean, they're looking at me like, yeah. And then I just love it when people say, oh yeah, our hygiene department is so profitable. I know I could walk in there with a gun, put it to their head and say, show me the accounting on Quicken that shows me you made 1 penny on this. And they couldn't do it. They couldn't. They would know the difference between a return on asset or return on equity. They would know a profit margin from a crown margin. But it
is absolutely not making any business sense, Howard. So, I know I'm going to get a lot of bad vibe from hygienists and other doctors, but it's just not working out for us.
Well, it's not our fault. I mean, all the hygienists could all go down to the insurance companies and start talking to them. They could. Yeah. I mean, they got.
I wish they would do that. So,
but when the Earth goes around the sun, and my $40 hygienist says, "Well, the Earth went around the sun one rotation. Will you give me another $1, dude? I haven't got another $1 for a dental cleaning for a decade. Not one decade. So who killed the hygienist? What was that song? Who killed the radio star? What was the name of that song? Oh, Video Killed the Radio Star?
Video Killed the Radio Star, yes.
Video killed the radio star. And Delta Dental killed the hygienist.
Yeah. I mean, how does it make sense that, I mean, they're paying us $50 or $60 and $30 for x-rays?
And I told the Delta Dental guys, I'm going all the way back to Ed Judd in 1987. I said, dude, I don't need $1,000 to pull 4 wisdom teeth. Yeah. But I can't pay her. This is clear back in the day. I can't pay her $20 to do a $28 cleaning.
Yes.
And so I think I get too much money off molar endo, dentures, partial. I mean, I got all these things where you get big chunk of change. Molar endo, 4 wisdom teeth, all this stuff like that. But the cleaning fee, the cleaning fee killed it, and they need to take matters in hand but the other reason is this is what they tell me down under is that if I have a hygienist, she's going to spend 10 minutes of that hour just waiting for the dentist to come and give the check. Yeah. So here's how they explain it to me all the time. They say, okay, so you pay this hygienist $40 an hour to set up a room that a $20 assistant could do. And then she goes out there and gets the patient that your receptionist could have done. And then they bring her back and they take x-rays that your assistant could have done. And then the hygienist decides to probe. But so now she goes and gets a $20 hour assistant with a $40 hour hygienist to measure the probing. And then when that's done, then she's going to be a hygienist and scale. Yes. But when she's done scaling, when she does the prophy, the fluoride, the assistant could have done that. But anyway, so here's what they do. They say, okay, we're just going to have a $20 assistant seat up the room, go get the patient, take the x-rays, and then she's going to go get the doctor. You're going to probe, they're going to record, and then you're going to just do the scaling.
Takes 15 minutes.
Yeah, it takes 10 or 15 minutes. And then when it's done, you're going to give the hygienist. But when the dentist sees a new patient, he's spending about 15 minutes with that new patient, and the treatment plan acceptance rate is this big of dollars.
Yes.
And then when he does the 4-minute hygiene check, the treatment plan conversion is almost zero. So they take out the hygienist, and then the dentist is actually now he's in the room. If that dentist is in the room for 15 minutes, the treatment plan conversion goes real high. If you have to probe every tooth and scale every tooth, you're going to be in there for 10, 15 minutes, and you're going to bond. Hey, how's the wife? How's the dog? How's the kids? How's the Cubs? How's the Bears? How's the White Sox? And then you're going to get around to that tooth really needs to be fixed. And all 3 for 3 publicly traded dental offices say that if I put the hygiene in there, the dental treatment plan acceptance rates plummets, and my overhead skyrockets, and now I'm not profitable.
I've even trained my doctors to present treatment plans. I mean, most of my doctors actually love presenting treatment plan to the patients. Obviously, they don't discuss the financials. The financials are discussed at the end. But I mean, 80 to 90% of my doctors actually present treatment plan to their patients as well. So, and that's our biggest thing. We train them on how to use this whole Dentrix treatment planning module and this whole technology to work in our favor. And I mean, our treatment plan acceptance is pretty high. Because, you've connected with that dentist, he's explaining all the treatment to you, and all you have to do at the end is just discuss the financials. And any front desk person can do that.
And when you talked about the hours, I mean, this is Dentistry Uncensored. This sounds racist and all this stuff, but the bottom line is, if you're born in America and you come out of dental school, you're only going to work Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and you're always going to use other people's money your whole life. I mean, you use it for dental school, then they'll use it for a house. Even when they have their student loans paid off, and you see them, they'll go buy a Range Rover, and I'll say, "Did you pay cash for that?" No, it's on a 5-year loan. Oh, so you're 40 and you're still using other people's money. Oh, you're 50. So I met a dentist the other day, 62 years old, just bought a brand new killer mansion on a 30-year mortgage. I'm like, oh, so you're gonna practice till you're 92? Does that make? But when they come out of dental school and they were not born in the United States, they're just born anywhere other than the United States, they're not entitled, and they'll come out of school like I go to San Francisco and they say, well, when you get out of dental school, man, San Francisco, it's got 6 schools in California, 2 of them are in San Fran, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, it's brutal. But at 5 o'clock, every lazy American boy dentist is at home, and who's still at the office? The Vietnamese, the Koreans, the Chinese, anybody from Africa, Asia, South America. And then I'll go talk to those people, and they'll say, yeah, I got out of school $350,000 in debt. I bought this office, and I don't have a car because I moved in here. I mean, there was an operatory. I live in operatory 4. And you come back in 3 years, and they have no student loans. They've paid off their practice. Their iPhone is their office conversation deal, and they just work all day every day, and they just crush it. But if you're born in America, by the time you get out of dental school, you're like, well, I'm a doctor, so I already deserve a BMW, and of course I don't want to work weekends or evenings. I mean, so my question to you is, when you're staffing your 15 locations, do you go out of your way to make sure that you don't hire American boys? I mean, I have been asked to quit saying this, and so I'll quit saying it, but some of my very wealthiest friends will not run any ads for dentists in English. They're out there, and I don't want to say what state they are because it's right next to Arizona and it touches it and all that stuff, but they want to run the ads in non-English speaking magazines because they just know, well, if this dentist shows up and he wasn't born in the United States, it's already a home run. Are you sensing that? Is that part of your strategy?
No, actually, most of the dentists who work for me are, American boys and gals, born and brought up over here, and what I see is they're very smart and they're very sensible. They just need some guidance. I think, if you can sit with them and teach them, listen, this is why this makes sense. This is why this makes sense. they understand. And I've actually had bad luck with immigrant dentists than the American boys and girls. So it's. I mean, the newer generation, that is the newer breed that is coming out. I think they're all coming out listening to you guys every day. I mean, and I think you guys are playing a huge part in changing the way they think. So the next 2-3 waves of dentists that are going to come out, I mean, they'll be all schooled by Howard Farran or the guys from the, oh God, I'm blanking out now. So the other podcast, Jason and the other guy, and listening to Mark Costas and you and Gary. So I think it's going to change in the next 2-3 years.
You know why they like my podcast? You know why
I love your podcast.
You know why? Because it's free, and I get guests on like you. I mean that's my only secret magic, is that I price it at free, and I can get guests like you to come on the show. I got another question. How do you know if something's real or fad? Like, there's a lot of people in sleep management that say, look, I'm a dentist. Sleep management is. What do you do to go through to decide? No, doctors of dental surgery should be doing this, or no, someone else should be doing that. Or is your offices into sleep?
No, Howard, again, what I'm noticing right now is there's just so much general dentistry that is out there to be performed. Instead of worrying about, what kind of a sleep appliance, let's just focus on the basic stuff. And maybe I haven't come to the point where I need to start looking into all this stuff, but I'm still playing around with just basic general stuff, and we've been extremely successful. I mean, a couple of my practices are doing north of $3.5-4 million a year. So, and we don't need to go out and we haven't even entered all this stuff. So, I don't have any plans to get into it right now, and I haven't really. Yes, I believe that dentists should be able to diagnose that, because it just creates more avenues for the patient to live a better life, and if we can give that to the patient, nice. But as I said, I haven't really ventured into that area at all. I haven't ventured much into sleep and Botox and fillers and any of that stuff, because we're just so busy with just dentistry that we didn't even get time to do that.
What about labs? I'm going back to what makes associates quit and turnover, and you're saying, they're looking for a mentor and all this stuff like that. It seems like a lot of places they work for, you have to use this lab. You work for me, we use ABC lab, and they get all upset they do not like that lab. How do you handle that?
Howard, I have opened, at 3 of my practices, I've already opened my own local labs. So what I did is I found out in Milwaukee, there was this lab which used to work for us, and he was phasing out. I told the guy, listen, take all your equipment. I have this space I'm going to give you, and you're going to work exclusively for 2 of my practices. So that's my next thing. In 2020, I want all my clinics to have their own labs. So, that just cuts down the time. And, we use only local labs, and the lab and us, we have a very good relationship. So the lab guy is in our clinic, at least 2 or 3 times. He's really good friends. I think your lab guy should be your best friend. I personally think that. So we have tie-ups with 2 different labs in Chicago, and they're all local, and they're really good friends with all our doctors. They're really accessible, and a couple of our clinics, we have our own lab.
It's just funny. The greatest thing about getting old is you just see everything. Oh, you don't see anything for the first time. I mean, the business cycle, the consolidation cycle, the lab, they even say clothing and miniskirts are a predictable cycle. But, when I got out of school, there was a dental supply company, and every city had one.
Yes.
And then it starts the consolidation cycle where, Stan Bergman is Shine and Pete Frechette of Patterson got a big line of credit, consolidated them all into one. And now they're all deconsolidating. And my God, there's a dental supply company popping up on. I mean, I've podcasted half a dozen of these all kinds of dental supply companies. The consolidation cycle is the big one. When I was little, my next door neighbor Kenny Anderson, they all had their own lab man. They all had the guy who was in about the size of an operatory. It was all gold and PFMs, and now you're seeing.
We do a lot of PFMs, still do PFMs, and I think it's one of the best restorations. It's cheap. It's very biocompatible. I mean, we have excellent success. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Michael Appa. I follow him. I mean, that guy is doing still porcelain restorations. I mean,
Michael Appa in New York.
Yes, New York or Dubai and California.
Yeah.
So, porcelain is an awesome restoration. So, we do a lot of PFMs, especially in the posterior teeth. I mean, who cares? Patients don't care, that little lingual metal that shows up. I mean, they want something that is comfortable. They want something that is done quickly, faster, and it's working out for us. I mean, we use all ceramic as well, but a big chunk of our restorations are still PFM.
We podcast interviewed Michael Appa. He was at number 862, and Larry Rosenthal was 754. That's what I love about dentistry. There's things you don't like to do. I do not like to do high cosmetic cases on anterior, on women, but I just don't get their market. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I'm all sitting there saying, well, the last thing you want to do is file all your teeth down and do crowns and veneers and bridges. You're beautiful. Why don't you go home and just forget about it? But I'm just not into that. But I think it's amazing. I went and spent a couple days with Larry Rosenthal.
Yes.
And what I thought was the most genius of Rosenthal is how he could handle expectations. And I'll never forget him telling me satisfaction equals perception minus expectations. Do not, and dentists do it all the time. They do it wrong. And the patient will say, well, will this hurt? No, you won't feel a thing. You don't feel a thing.
No.
Why?
You're gonna tell them.
You just set the bar so low that you're going to trip over it 100% of the time. When I get done with the root canal, I say, do you have a concealed weapon at home? And out here in Arizona, at least half say, or 2/3, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Why? Well, you're probably going to want to shoot yourself when this wears off. And, and I'm lowering their expectations.
Yes.
So then
Set
they
the
come back and
bar.
go, Howard, you won't believe it. I didn't even shoot myself after the root canal. And the way these genius guys like Michael Appa and Rosenthal can handle expectations of crazy people who think they're going to write you a check and look 20 years younger is just amazing. But I'll tell you another business cycle I've lived through. Do you realize that when I was little, there were 70,000 microbreweries, and then it consolidated all the way down to 70? And now it's back to the full 70,000. There's a microbrewery now and a dental supply company on every corner now, and it'll consolidate again. As soon as it's just like, remember that game? What was that game where you had the white ball and the two? It was like the first video game.
Yes.
What was it?
Oh no.
Pong.
Yeah.
Ping pong.
Yeah, no, just Pong. Remember, it just bounced a ball back and forth.
Yeah, like ping pong. So yes.
Yeah, that's what Joseph Schumpeter won a Nobel Prize in economics for the business cycle, and he goes, "This is just what they do, man. It's a cycle. It's the agricultural cycle is toughest." But I wanted to get back on that on the supplies. We've seen the business cycle. We've seen it go from one on every corner to just the big four. Now there's one on every corner again. How do you handle supplies? What is your supply budget? When I talk to people from that deal with big organizations like yours, they say, "My God, he's got 30 different dentists, and they all need different gloves, and they all need different bonding agents, and then the assistants don't know how to set up a room because every dang dentist needs a different burr." So how do you handle all that?
Well, no, because we have systems in place. As I said, every assist dentist is trained on how it is done. And supplies, we basically, I deal with Patterson. I have a very good relationship with them. We really negotiated the prices with them. So and we stay at about 3.5 to 3.6% of
Holy
our
moly.
total collection every month on our supplies, and it's worked out. So but again, I think this is a lot of it is also, when you get in your associate, grooming them correctly, teaching them that, hey, listen, this is how it's done, this is how we've done it successfully, and we're going to teach you this way, and they're pretty accepting, of all that. So we haven't had any issues where, a dentist wants to, we've had, where assistant used to put the whole bond in the little tray, and like a vellum bond, but from there we moved on to now they have these bond pens, so it really doesn't dispense a lot of bond. So the supply company Patterson has worked with us very closely, and we don't even go out looking anywhere else, so
But you said earlier you like Dentrix software.
yes,
So you like Henry Schein's software,
yes,
which you like Patterson's supplies, because Effingham, where
yes.
Dentrix or Eaglesoft is only 3 hours down the street from
Yes, just down south.
So why do you like Patterson supplies but Henry Schein's management information system?
It's more of a relationship. Patterson gave us a very good deal where they provide us excellent technical support or on-site support for all our chairs and panoramic machines or CT scans. We have CT scans in pretty much every clinic. So it just, and the relationship, they were there for us, or they are more accessible to us when we need them compared to Henry Schein. So we chose Patterson.
And basically what he just said, this might have flown over your head. You're a social animal. So your Patterson rep comes in, he brings you donuts, he tells you you're wonderful. They always tell me that my hair looks wavy and thick and I'm thin, and the next thing you know, your State Farm man wants to buy you lunch because he knows from influence that if he buys you something or feeds you, you automatically want to buy him something feeding back. And the most successful people are the ones that have the most uncomfortable conversations. And when you're standing there in the counter and your Patterson lady saying, "Oh, how's your grandkids?" I mean, come on. I mean, come on. Really? I mean, what you're hearing is you're hearing a businessman. He's saying it's all about relationships, but he has a relationship of trust based on uncomfortable conversations where Syed's going to say, "Hey, okay, now let's go to work. Okay, what do you, I know what you want to do. You want to sell supplies. I know what I want to do. I want to pay the lowest price. So let's not talk about my dog, my grandkids, and frogs. Let's have an uncomfortable conversation. And then if we take care of each other, we trust that we'll do business together."
Yes, that's how it is. That's how it is. How I take the invoices. I will have my manager call Shine, get a price quote. I mean, I used to do that. I don't do that anymore because I trust them now. So, what we used to do is we used to just go in. Okay, this is the invoice. This is the invoice. This is the invoice. So this is from Dental Health Products. This is from Shine. This is from Patterson. And Patterson always came through. So it was a pure business decision based on whoever gave us the best deal for the best product that is available, and and the best support to support that, and Patterson always came through. So I couldn't change my business philosophy because it was completely based on Dentrix, and I stick with Shine for Dentrix. So that's the only thing I use Shine for. Everything else is Patterson. It just works out, and every time I'm doing a new practice, I will call the DHPI rep, I'll call the Shine rep, I'll compete, I'll take all the 3 invoices, I'll give them, "Listen, guys, this is it. I mean, you guys want my business, fight for it and get it from me." And Patterson always has come through. They've given us the best offers and the best deal. I mean, it could be different. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, you want to do this right, call everybody, let them fight for it, and you just sit and watch the show. That's what's happening.
there's 211,000 Americans who are living with an active license to practice dentistry. It's a big country. It's a big market. And I think Patterson would be, I think their best market is just the relationship guy. There's a ton of people who are never going to know what the return asset, return equity, how many people land on their website last month, how many converted to call the office. If 100 people came in with a cavity, how many converted to, I mean, there's just a ton of my homies and friends, and they make great dentists. They're great people, and they just want that relationship where they just say, hey, Susie, she works for Patterson. They want that relationship deal. But if you're a little bit more MBA, if you're a little bit more dentist, just raise the professional standard and don't have them walk in with donuts, schedule a time, and go over the accounting. And that was my next question. How do you do the accounting for 11 offices when Dentrix from Henry Schein, their best idea was that it shouldn't sync with QuickBooks Online?
Yes, and that's the beef that my accountant has. And my accountant has complete access to the bank. He synchronizes the bank account with the with our software. And everything that we do, all the purchasing that we do is through a specific business credit card for each clinic. So it just makes it easy for him. And then he comes up with profit loss statements.
But what do you think of an industry where Dentrix isn't? I mean, is it bipolar? Is it schizophrenic? Is it just batshit crazy? How does that happen?
This is the most screwed up thing in our profession right now. That everybody uses Intuit for payroll and accounting, and Dentrix being such a smart software. I mean, for God's sake, it can figure out a dental code out of 20,000 patients. Why can't they figure out how to just sync both of them together? You know how many problems we'll solve? We'll know exactly how much time, how much resources are going on this filling or on this cleaning, but it's just.
I'm going to try to find her name for you. I'm going to tell you how embarrassing this is. I don't know. Let me see if I can find her name. But anyway, long story short, so I flew down all the way. I'm going to find this girl. Where is she? I got so mad, I flew all the way down to Effingham, talked to the EagleSoft people, telling them that I don't know how to run a business with EagleSoft not hooked up to Quicken. Went down to New York and talked to Stan Bergman, and he gave me his time, and I told him and he said, oh, okay. He said, so he sent this girl out, and she's got an MBA, and she worked for, I don't know who it was, Spear, Pankey, someone like that, and so she did a survey. And she said, okay, Howard Farran, he thinks that you want to know, like Walmart, what is your sales per square feet? Just simple, obvious stuff. How many hours you use your facility? When a hygienist gets done doing a cleaning exam and x-ray, I want to know, did I make $9.12 after taxes, or did I lose $50? She had everything. She came down, she met with my comptroller, Stacy, Lori. We had this big old meeting. She mailed it out to 1,000 people. Came back, showed me results. No one wanted it. And when she said, what do you want? Guess what the top two things were from her survey? They wanted to change the font of the notes and the color.
Oh, my God.
That was the point when Stan got on the phone. He goes, Howie, he says, I know you love your homies, but, they don't get this. And that's when I realized, oh my God. I mean, I love them for it. They would rather fix your tooth perfectly and not even know if they made money or not. And this is why DSOs are mowing them over.
It's going to change, Howard. I mean, I think it's going to change pretty soon. Hopefully, especially with you guys going out there and educating all these young dentists who are coming out. And as I said, again, this all goes back to the new dentist who's graduating. He has to find the right mentor who's going to teach them this, who's going to teach them that, hey, this does matter. And when they realize that this does matter, the demand will increase, and hopefully someone will come up with something.
Yeah. I was trying to find the name of that girl that Stan put out there, but that goes to show you, it depends on, just because you think something is real, just because you think all your dentists would want it, you just never know. But hey, is there anything you want to talk about that I wasn't smart enough to ask?
No. I think we covered pretty much everything.
So
And
if some young kid wants to work for you, how do they contact you?
they can text me or call me on my cell phone. They can email me.
What you got to give? What do you want to give out?
My cell phone number is 847-915-2827.
And what about your email?
It's my first name, which is Syed, Syed, and then my middle initial, which is S, last name Rehman @gmail.com.
So you're saying if right now they're at the bathroom at 7-Eleven right on the wall for a good time, call Syed S. Rehman at gmail.com. Hey, and man, what passionate about your cell phone number on a podcast. That's pretty committed dentistry. Hey, Syed, thank you so much. It was an honor for a gentleman that has 11 offices in Chicago and Milwaukee to come on the show and share with my homies everything you passionately believe in.
And thank you so much. I am who I am because of guys like you. I've learned so much from you guys, and I've implemented this. So, thank you for doing what you're doing and doing this for free. So, the whole new cycle or the whole new generation of dentists that come out, they come with a completely different philosophy, come with a different understanding. They're ready to work hard, and I'm forever grateful to guys like you. Guys.
Well, thanks, man. The only reason I do this show is because I firmly have seen for 32 years that the guys that come out of school and do 100 hours of CE a year, they're always happy on top of it and having fun. And this is, when you're in Salina, Kansas, they're never going to run into me and you. And all they got to do is commute to work on their iPhone. They listen to us for an hour. I think it's a beautiful thing. Thanks for coming on the show and doing it with me. And have a rocking good evening.
Good evening. Okay, take care.
All right, bye-bye.